Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take all the info you send us, the sources you find interesting, and we pull out the really crucial stuff.
Yeah, the need-to-know bits.
Exactly. It's like your shortcut to getting up to speed on something important without, getting totally buried in information.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're diving into, the cyber threat landscape, which is always evolving, isn't it? And specifically how AI is changing things in Security Operations Centers, SOCs.
Right. We've got a lot to unpack here. The Palo Alto Network's Unit 42 report for 2025, some really good insights from Torque and Infosys on AI SOCs.
And some real-world takes from Reddit, threat intel reports, redress compliance, Calypso AI.
The Hacker News, Palo Alto, again, on threat detection itself. It's quite the collection.
It really is. So let's set the scene. Cyber attacks are getting, faster and way more complex.
Definitely. And that Unit 42 report, it kicks off with a really stark point. Ransomware isn't just about encryption anymore.
No. What's the shift?
It's intentional operational disruption. Think crippling businesses. In 2024, they found a staggering 86% of the incidents they handled involved hitting the business operations directly.
Wow. 86%. So it's less about the data lockup and more about causing chaos and damage.
Precisely. It's designed to hurt operations' reputation. Much more direct impact.
Okay, so the landscape's definitely more malicious.
Yeah.
And the targets are shifting too, right? The report mentioned supply chain and cloud attacks.
Yeah, big time. The impact there is growing. And the scale, they tracked one campaign scanning over 230 million unique targets.
230 million. That's hard to even picture, just constant probing.
Relentless. And in the cloud, it often comes down to the fundamentals.
Yeah.
That Unit 42 report really hammers home the issues with identity and access management.
Still, after all this time.
Yep. Things like way too much access granted in policies, permissions that are too broad, basic password problems, still a huge headache in 2024.
So even with fancy cloud tech, the basics matter.
A lot.
Absolutely critical.
Non-negotiable.
And the speed you mentioned. Unit 42 found data getting swiped within the first hour in nearly 1 in 5 cases.
Yeah, almost 20%. And they had that Ransom Hub example, 500 gigs of data pulled in just 7 hours.
7 hours for half a terabyte. There's almost no time to react.
Virtually none. And attackers are using more automation, sophisticated tools are easily available. It all adds up.
Plus, the insider threat. That's getting worse, too.
Significantly, according to Unit 42, cases linked to North Korea tripled in 2024. And their methods are sneaky fake identities, even hardware stuff like KVM over IP solutions.
KVM over IP, so like hardware-level remote access.
Exactly. Very hard to spot because it bypasses a lot of software monitoring. They're targeting all sorts of sectors.
Okay, this is painting a pretty grim picture.
Well, and here's the kicker. Unit 42 is already seeing early signs of AI being used in attacks.
Weaponized AI.
Sort of.
Yeah.
They ran a ransomware attack simulation using generative AI. It cut the time to exfiltrate data from 2 days down to just 25 minutes.
2 days to 25 minutes. That's a terrifying acceleration, a glimpse of what's coming.
It really is a potential paradigm shift in attack speed. And attacks aren't simple anymore. 70% hit 3 or more fronts.
3 or more. Like what?
Endpoints, people making mistakes, identity systems, the network, cloud, apps, all interconnected. And interestingly, 44% involved a web browser somehow.
Shows how everything's linked. So you've got this complexity, blind spots, maybe too much trust internally.
Exactly. And that's why traditional SOCs are struggling, right? Too many complex threats, not enough skilled people. The volume is overwhelming.
Which brings us neatly to the idea of the AI SOC. This is where sources like Torque and Infosys come in, suggesting AI could be the game changer.
Right. They see it as a way to automate the grind, boost threat detection accuracy, speed up response, give context, and just use resources smarter.
Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts then.
Right.
What does an AI-powered SOC actually involve? What are the core technologies?
Well, Torque breaks it down. You've got Gen AI and large language models first. Think of them reading security data, finding insights, suggesting fixes, summarizing incidents, even building workflows.
So understanding and generating information.
Exactly. Then there's AI-driven hyperautomation. That's about connecting your existing tools smartly, automating tasks between them without needing someone to click buttons.
Okay, orchestration.
And finally, natural language agents. These can understand plain English commands within playbooks, so you can automate things like initial checks or containment, but keep a human in the loop.
That sounds like it could really change the day-to-day. What kind of things can it actually do, the use cases?
Oh, loads. Incident investigation is a big one. AI analyzing alerts, finding real patterns, cutting out false positives, doing that first triage.
Taking the noise out?
Right. Then case management, prioritizing incidents, adding context automatically. It can generate workflows, summarize long reports, handle documentation, create executive summaries.
Wow, okay. Even report.
Yeah. And helping teams collaborate better, optimizing who does what, correlating data from different tools for a bigger picture, and automating chunks of the actual response.
So it's not just finding threats, it's streamlining the whole operation.
Yeah.
Infosys talks about scaling, right?
Yeah.
Handling more without just hiring masses of people.
Precisely, which is huge given the skills shortage. And it helps shift from just reacting to being more proactive, looking ahead, predicting potential issues.
Which leads to the big question everyone asks.
Yeah.
Does this mean AI replaces the human analysts?
And the consensus from Torque, from the Reddit discussions we looked at, seems to be a clear no. It's about augmentation.
Making analysts better, not redundant.
Exactly. The Reddit folks are excited about the potential, especially for handling the routine stuff, the alert fatigue, but they stress humans are still needed for the complex cases, the context, the novel attacks.
Yeah, I saw that comparison, AI being like a level 1 or 1.5 analyst. Good for basic correlation, describing known tactics, but not deep investigation.
Spot on. And there's the executive view too, right? Balancing cost savings from AI with the fact you still need skilled investigators for false positives and tricky situations that need human judgment.
That makes sense. AI can do things in minutes that used to take days, but it has limits.
Definitely. Things like writing really sophisticated detection rules or parsing super complex, messy data, still challenging for AI. The Reddit view suggests SOC roles will evolve, more proactive hunting, risk management, working with AI.
A partnership, then. Amplifying human skills.
That's the idea. Leveraging AI, not being replaced by it.
Okay, that's a crucial point. So we've got AI assisting analysis. What about automating the actual response? But before we dive into that, let's quickly thank our sponsors. This deep dive is brought to you by www.cisomarketplace.services and www.generatepolicy.com.
Good point. So automated incident response. The threat intel reports really focus on this. It's about taking the human out of the loop for repetitive, predictable actions.
Why? What's the main benefit?
Speed. Simple as that. Faster detection, faster containment, give you that 24/7 defense capability. In cyber, time is everything. Minimizing damage is key.
And it helps with the sheer volume of threats, presumably, and analyst workload.
Absolutely. You can't manually handle everything anymore. Automation is essential for scale and for preventing burnout.
And there are cost savings, too. I think one report mentioned an IBM study.
That's right. Significant savings. Over 65% lower breach costs for organizations fully using security AI and automation, according to that study. It's a strong financial argument.
So how does it work in practice? Automated workflows.
Yeah, built on workflows covering the whole incident lifecycle preparation, detection, analysis, containment, eradication, recovery, and that crucial post-incident learning phase.
And you can tailor these workflows.
That's the key. Custom workflows for your environment, your likely threats. SOR tools, security orchestration, automation, and response are central here. They automate things like triage and trigger preset responses.
Can you give some examples? What gets automated?
Sure. Things like automatically updating firewall rules to block bad IPs the moment they're identified.
Okay, real-time blocking.
Or isolating an infected machine instantly to stop malware spreading. Automating parts of the forensic data collection. Blocking connections to known malicious servers, even disrupting ransomware before it fully encrypts.
So stopping attacks in their tracks.
That's the goal. And using automated incident response playbooks, predefined action sets, means you get a fast, coordinated response every time for specific attack types.
This proactive, automated approach feels vital now. But with automation comes responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ethical considerations.
Definitely. And speaking of responsibility, a quick thank you to another sponsor making this possible, www.cyberagent.exchange.
Right. So ethics and proactivity. Sources like Redress Compliance and Calypso AI bring this up.
They do. Redress mentioned challenges like bias in AI, referencing a judicial algorithm example, interestingly, and fairness. Data security, especially with IoT devices, and the need for standards are also big points.
And Calypso AI emphasized being proactive, not reactive.
Yes, very strongly. They talked about the danger of getting complacent after you recover from an attack. The cost of recovering can dwarf what you should have spent on preventing it in the first place. A proactive mindset is crucial with AI in the mix.
Which logically leads us back to the human analyst's role. How does that change as AI takes on more?
Well, the Hacker News and Emphasis paint a picture of the old struggles, right? Alert overload, manual drudgery, too many tools, data everywhere but not connected, leading to burnout.
Yeah, the classic SOC problems.
And attackers move so fast now that breakout time is shrinking. So rapid response is absolutely critical.
But AI tools can help here, taking on that initial load.
That's the promise. AI can handle and interpret alerts from anywhere, freeing up humans for the real threats, the complex stuff. They can use Gen AI for research query logs with natural language.
Like asking the data questions in plain English.
Exactly. And AI is good at spotting subtle anomalies that might signal a sophisticated attack. Plus, storing the vast data AI needs is getting cheaper.
So, again, it's about enhancing the analyst.
Yes. The Hacker News is clear. AI first, SOCs augment humans, they don't replace them. You still absolutely need people for monitoring, spotting new threats, validating AI findings, making the big decisions, collaborating.
So the value prop, as Infosys lays it out, better scale, breaking down silos of maybe a single console view, fewer human errors on routine tasks, deeper analysis, and ultimately less risk.
That sums it up nicely. And speaking of value, let's thank our sponsors again, www.cisomarketplace.services and www.generatepolicy.com for their support.
Okay, let's get a bit more technical for a moment. How is AI actually used in threat detection itself? Palo Alto Networks had some detail here.
Right. They traced the evolution. Started with basic rules, then signatures for known malware, then heuristics trying to spot malicious behavior, and then anomaly detection flagging anything weird compared to a baseline.
And machine learning really pushed things forward.
Hugely. Supervised learning, where you train the AI on labeled good and bad examples, and unsupervised, where the AI just finds unusual patterns on its own.
And now we're into deep learning and neural networks.
Yeah, these more advanced algorithms can chew through massive complex data sets and find really subtle attack patterns that older methods would miss, and they keep learning.
But this all needs data. Lots of it.
Tons. From network logs, system events, user activity, threat intel feeds, and that data needs serious work, cleaning, normalizing, picking the right features before you can train models effectively.
And training these models isn't trivial, I assume.
Not at all. It's complex. You need to define the threat, get the data, choose the right AI architecture, train it, test it rigorously, refine it. It's an ongoing cycle.
How do you actually implement these AI systems?
Integration is key. Often hybrid models work best AI alongside traditional controls. Needs real-time processing, and the whole system has to scale to handle the data load.
And always keeping ethics and privacy in mind.
Absolutely. Things like data bias, fairness, transparency, privacy rules like GDPR, they're critical considerations when you deploy AI for security.
Makes sense. So AI is popping up everywhere, network security, endpoint, fraud detection.
Pretty much anywhere you have data and patterns to analyze.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've seen the threat landscape getting faster, nastier, more complex. Defenses need to keep up.
Right, and AI offers this huge potential to transform SOCs, automating tasks, speeding up analysis, making humans more effective.
But crucially, it's not replacing people. Human expertise, critical thinking, strategy, ethics, still absolutely vital.
Couldn't agree more. It's a partnership.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener.
As AI gets deeper into our defenses, and attackers inevitably start using AI more effectively too, how does that dynamic, that race between human defenders and AI attackers evolve?
Yeah, and what new skills do security pros need to cultivate to stay effective, to stay ahead in this new AI-driven world? It's something to really think about.
Definitely.
Okay, that's our deep dive for today. A massive thank you again to all our sponsors. www.cisomarketplace.services, www.generatepolicy.com, and www.cyberagent.exchange. Their support makes this possible.